Today I'll be discussing on what Canada's Wonderland, a Cedar Fair park located in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada, needs to be a better park. This park opened in 1981 by the Taft Broadcasting Company, then was purchased by Paramount in 1993 and was renamed Paramount Canada's Wonderland, and then was purchased by Cedar Fair in 2006 and was renamed back to Canada's Wonderland. This is the only international Cedar Fair park, as all the other ones are in the United States, but this is a massive park with a lot of rides, and while they do have the quantity, they could do a bit better in quality, but they're a beautiful park, and I'm excited to see what they could do to be better. So let's get into this. So they have a whopping 17 roller coasters, and those are Leviathan, which is a B&M Giga Coaster, Behemoth, which is a B&M Hyper Coaster, Yukon Striker, which is a B&M Dive Coaster, Vortex, which is an Aero Suspended Coaster, Backlot Stunt Coaster, which is a Premier Rides Multi-Launch Family Coaster, Wonder Mountain's Guardian, which is a Trial Tech Hybrid Coaster, it's also a dark ride, Wild Beast, which is a Taft Broadcasting Woody, Mighty Canadian Mind Buzz, which is also a Taft Broadcasting Woody, Dragonfire, which is an Aero Custom Looper, Thunder Run, which is a Mock Rides Powered Coaster, Bat, which is a Vekoma Boomerang, Ghoster Coaster, which is a Taft Junior Wooden Coaster, Fly, which is a Mock Rides Wild Mouse, Flight Deck, which is a Vekoma SLC, Time Warp, which is a Zampella Velar, Silver Streak, which is a Vekoma Family Suspended Coaster, and Taxi Jam, which is an ENF Mylar Kitty Coaster. That is a lot of coasters. They definitely have the quantity on side. Now let's get to their thrilling flat rides. They have Cyclone, which is a Mondao Frisbee, Skyhawk, which is a Gersauer Sky Roller, Sledgehammer, which is a Huss Giant Jumper, Slingshot, which is a Funtime Slingshot, that's an upcharge, Windseeker, which is a Mondao Windseeker, Extreme Skyflyer, which is a Sky Coaster, also an upcharge, Soaring Timbers, which is a Mondao Inferno, Lumberjack, which is a Zampella Hawk 48/Aero 360, Shockwave, which is a Mondao Top Scan, Drop Tower Scream Zone, which is an Intamin Giant Drop, Nightmares, which is a Husk Gravitron, and Riptide, which is a Mondao Top Spin. That is a ton. They by far have one of the best flat ride collections out there. And they do have technically two dark rides. They have Blue Blasters, which is a shooting dark ride, and Wonder Mountain's Guardian, which is a coaster / a dark ride. That's a lot of rides. And there are some notable attractions that, besides the thrilling flat rides and coasters, they have Flying Eagles, which is Larson Flying Scooters, Kidsville, and Planet Snoopy. They have 2 kids areas, which is insane. Vikings Rage, which is your Viking ship, Flying Canoes, which is like a paddle boat ride, and they have, of course, Wonder Mountain with many shows on International Street. That is very cool. And they do have 2 water rides, which is Timberwolf Falls, which is a Hopkins Shoot the Chutes, and Whitewater Canyon, which is an Intamin River Rapids ride. So they have a ton of rides, which is absolutely insane. And the park is absolutely huge. But that being said, they definitely could do a bit better in terms of the quality of coasters. They do definitely have a lot of coasters. Their top 3 is excellent. But outside of really their top 3, it's not super great. So I'm just going to discuss what they could use. First thing I could definitely see them getting is a Gerstlauer launched Infinity Coaster, something like Karaho, or maybe a Gerstlauer Eurofire like Taka Bisha with that launch. That'd be very cool. There's nothing really like it in the area. The nearest, closest type of coaster you get is either Untamed at Canopy Lake Park or TMNT Shell Racer, so an Infinity Coaster would be very cool. Next, I could definitely see them getting a mock multi-launch like Copperhead Strike. I could definitely see them being either the 2nd or 3rd Cedar Fair park to get one. And I'm saying these 2 launch type of coasters because their only launch coaster is a cloned coaster, Backlot Stunt Coaster, so they very well could get a mock launch, and they're very enjoyable. I've ridden Copperhead Strike, very enjoyable experience, so something like this would be very cool. And next, I could honestly see them doing a GCI hybrid treatment to Wild Beast. I don't think they're going to RMC it because of that whole law, but they very well could do the GCI treatment. I don't know if it's the same with GCI. If it isn't, then that would be a fantastic fit here. And it could be the first ever hybrid that GCI ever does. And I definitely think Wild Beast does have potential to do it. Not my Canadian Mindbuster really, because that goes over the water park, so most likely not. So yeah. And honestly, I can also see them getting a B&M invert that could replace Flight Deck. Let's be honest, not really anyone likes Flight Deck, neither the GP nor the enthusiast, so they could very well get a B&M invert and it would work very well here. And it would definitely round out their lineup, as they would have a 4th B&M, which is insane. And I can also see them getting maybe a Vekoma Suspended Coaster replacing Silver Streak, because again, not too many people are fans of the Vekoma Hang and Bang, so they very well could get rid of that and replace it with maybe a Dragonflyer or a Cannon Clone or an original layout. I can definitely see them doing that. And finally, I could see them either getting a B&M Flyer or possibly a Mock Power Splash. They don't have a coaster that goes backwards. They do have a flying coaster, but that's Time Warp, and not too many people really enjoy that thing, so They very well could get a mock Power Splash or a Beat 'em Flyer, because Beat 'em Flyers are a lot more modern than Zamperla Valairs. Those are all for the roller coasters, but you may think for thrill rides that they don't really need any, because they have at least 12 thrill rides. But nope, I have one that they very well could get. Actually, I could see two that they could possibly get. An S&S Scream and Swing and a Modern Enterprise. The Modern Enterprise, maybe something like Catwoman's Whip at Six Flags St. Louis, and an S&S Scream and Swing like Barnstormer at Dollywood. Those would both be great fits here. They could remove one of their old flat rides and replace it with a new one for something more modern, but I don't know. Both of those would be absolutely great here. And for family rides, I can definitely see them getting a couple things. They could get a Minor Planet Super Kidsville expansion. I can definitely see them also getting a Troika. Troikas are very enjoyable and are at most Cedar Fair parks. And I could potentially see them getting a Skyride or a train. And any park that doesn't have a Skyride or a train, I will list in these videos, so just keep that in note. So they could definitely use it, especially considering how massive the park is. They could really use it, but I don't know if they have the space to put a station in that for that, but it would definitely be very nice to put a Skyride or a train here. And also, I definitely think they should relocate their flyers to another section of the park, because since it's at a kids area, they don't really let you snap or anything, so I definitely think they could relocate their flyers somewhere. And water rides, like I said, they could get the mock Power Splash, and it would definitely work nice, because again, it's very unique to the area, and it would be very cool. And any coaster removals, I have quite a few actually. Dragonfire is the first one I can see, mainly because it's an Air Custom Looper and they're starting to die out. And it's literally right under Leviathan and it's not very popular because of that, so I can definitely see Dragonfire being on its way out. And both of the major Woodies, not just because they could be RMC, but just because, again, they're not super popular and they're not particularly great. Especially Mindbuster, because they had to make the airtime a lot more spread out, so it doesn't really give much airtime. So both of the major Woodies could very well go. Time Warp could go for maybe a new modern flying coaster, and then Flight Deck could go for a modern invert, and Silver Street could go for a modern Vekoma suspended coaster. So yeah, that's a lot of coasters to leave, but honestly they kind of need to do that, because I definitely think they just need that little oomph, and they could, just have a more quality lineup instead of a quantity, and those are the coasters I could see going. But the coasters that would not come for a while, so that's why I'm kind of saying they could spread it out, kind of, if you know what I mean. And any available space, there are a couple, but the park is 100% developed, so whatever they do, most likely will be with the ride removal, like the ones I talked about earlier. There's space by Behemoth right next to that lake. The parking lot's huge, so they could very well do that by the parking lot. There's extra space from Yukon Striker that they did not use, and they could remove Whitewater Canyon for maybe a new coaster or a new area or something like that. So, do I think Canada's Wonderland has a bright future? Yes, I definitely think they have a super bright future, especially since this is one of Cedar Fair's favorite amusement parks. They pour so much investment, especially with their flat rides, and their flat ride collection really is amazing. Coaster collection maybe not as much, but I definitely think Cedar Fair is willing into getting this park to be better and be more about the quality. Like, say something like Kings Island. I definitely think they will be able to be around the same level as Kings Island in the next few years, or even Cedar Point, because if they just pour some more money into their coasters, then they very well could be a world destination, and it would just be absolutely insane if that would be able to happen. So I can definitely see that changing in the future. So that is what I think will come to Canada's Wonderland in the future. Do you guys agree with what I said? Let me know down in the comment section below, and please be sure to subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me, and smash the like button, and hopefully we can see you guys soon. See you guys, bye.